Okay, I'm gonna pause my work to make a video because if I don't, I'm going to probably lose my temper. This is the state of the plumbing. It's so hard to appreciate. I mean, other than it's just a friggin' mess. This area here of the second floor is where everyone's kitchen and bathroom is grouped. It's all old copper, that's fine, but the drains, you know, and the gas for people's stoves and water, and there's just huge long runs of copper that go way down, and they're just hanging randomly around in here, routed. Look at this jump over again and go down. And then there's some gate valves jammed in by my sink, and this is gas. There's a gate valve on the gas here. I don't know if you can see, it's just a cluster of fittings and stuff here, and it's all just hanging. You got steel gas line touching the copper drain, and you get, that should be all right there, but you don't want to let anything touch up here. You end up with chemical reactions and corrosion, and it's just a mess. So what I'm trying not to do is make a bigger project, a huge project. But I am trying to make improvements here, so I'll set the light down. One of the things that we're going to do, I found the cold water to start with. I shut water off to the building. I found the 3/4 supply cold water coming from elsewhere. That's okay for now. It came here. There was a T. I cut both legs of the T off. Now I'm going to heat up the last leg that's still soldered to that run. I'm going to heat it up with the torch until I can slip that T off of there, and then that will mean that let me set this light down again. That'll mean that this run, where are we here? That'll mean that the rest of this can be removed. It'll mean that this leg that goes up and off of the T over there can be removed, and those will become a component in the new system. The new system is a manifold. I constructed this monstrosity. I do have to caution people. I hope I don't put my foot in my mouth here, but there are so many solder joints and so many opportunities for there to be a leak, and then you need to be able to test this. To open the valves, you need to put PEX on every one of these PEX connections and consume a band clamp, pinching it and connecting them up, and then you can open up the valves to water pressure and see what you got. And if you have a solder leak, you can take it all back apart again. You can cut every one of those band clamps, throw it away. You can hack up all the PEX connections. The water can pour back out on the floor, and everything needs to be dried out and blasted out with air so that you can potentially address the leaky solder joint. So word to the wise, I only did this, I've had enough experience to feel slightly confident, although I may really regret it. But the idea is you can buy manifolds. The problem, you can buy manifolds of 4 or 6 easily at like Lowe's and Home Depot. PEX takeoffs, and it's all one piece. But the end of it that you need to connect up to is also a PEX connection. And I didn't want to get into more and more PEX here because I'm coming from copper. So the idea is, let me see if I can turn the light here. We need to find a better vantage point. There you go. So I cut this T off from there and there. I'll heat up the solder. I'll spin him off of there. So I just got the 3/4 inch supply. And then I'm going to jump up, or jump down from 3/4 to half, and I'm going to install this header in here like this to him, and I'll have 2 valves that I can reach up and deal with. And again, this is also temporary. It's a huge improvement over what's here, but in the future, I'll take this assembly and go somewhere else with it, which is why it was worth building. But it will be moved into the basement. Everything there'll be a place in the basement where you go to address shut-off or water issues for anybody. You can turn supply on and off to any apartment unit, etc., etc. And you want to localize that stuff. So in an emergency or when you're working, to streamline mechanical service and to just have good craftsmanship and make a nice organized space, you want to be able to do like a flow chart. So if I'm dealing with water, I'm going to go to the water area of the building, and everything I need to handle water is there. And then if I'm handling cold, that's in one place, and if I'm handling something hot, it's in another place. And it's an easy flow chart, and that's how you want to keep things. So for now, I'm going to build an identical one to be the hot manifold, but for now this is the cold. So cold will supply this from the existing. We're going to neck down with a reducer to half, and we're going to connect this up. I pointed the valves down where you'll be able to climb a ladder and and deal with it. I pointed the PEX connections up so that the PEX can loop up and into the ceiling bays between ceiling joists, right? And we can keep that stuff. The only thing I want to limit how much I break the plane of the surface of the ceiling joist. All of this business hanging down from there has resulted in having to make a faux ceiling like this to create a cavity so it's finished below where you are, and you can have all this BS in this finished cavity. I don't care for that. I want to move and everything as much as I can up into the ceiling bays. Look at all this nice space we have up here. And then you can finish across the top of this someday, and that can be the ceiling of the space downstairs, and you can appreciate the tall ceiling. So that's a goal. For now, the valves will break that plane. Everything else will kind of be as close to or up into that area as possible. So that's what we're doing here. And then each of these valves is an apartment unit cold. So you open or close the cold supply here, open it up, and it powers, you know, one entire leg here. And I made enough connections, hopefully, so that you have how do we do this here? It's cold water for like a kitchen sink, cold water for the bathroom sink, cold water for the tub shower, cold water for the toilet supply, and cold water for the washing machine. And the same for the other apartment unit upstairs. And this will be the cold manifold. We'll do it for hot as well, so we'll have a hot for the kitchen sink, a hot for the bathroom sink, a hot for the tub shower, and a hot for the washing machine. We won't need a hot for the toilet, so we will only need 4 connections per apartment unit on the other one. And from there, you can always modify this. I could put an extra one on if I felt that it was going to grow potentially, and you can just put a piece of PEX on that and a plug in it and clamp everybody together, and just leave a takeoff there for the future if you want to add a piece of equipment. But basically, I'm hedging a bet that this is well worth building. It's worth improving this situation a little bit up here, and in the future I'll take this guy to another place and do a better job of finally locating him, and we'll call this a halfway point. I didn't need to do this much work, but while I'm in here getting cobwebs in my hair and soldering and getting all set up to do it and everything, I just figured, we'll do this much all together as one. And I've been making decisions like that for the 8 years that I've been here, doing a little bit more than necessary, and I've benefited from that on many, many occasions. So that's my advice to everybody else. But I think we're done piddling the water that was left in the line. And so we're going to get this reducer soldered on and come back and install this fella and get some PEX connected, and I guess we'll come check on him later when there's other things to be talking about in here, such as the drain lines and PVC. All right, so stay tuned.